Hello, welcome to the channel, The Existence of Dark DNA. What is this? As Jack would say, let's take it step by step. There is a technology that is very useful for biology, and that is DNA sequencing technology. Through this technology, scientists are clarifying some questions that humans have asked about animals for centuries. By mapping the genomes of animals, we now have a better idea of how the giraffe has such a long neck, and why snakes are so long. Genome sequencing allows us to compare and contrast the DNA of different animals, and discover how they evolved in different ways and why some evolved in such particular ways. But in some cases, scientists come across a mystery. It seems that some animal genomes lack certain genes that other similar species have, and these genes are necessary for the survival of this animal, which is why they have decided to call it dark DNA, because it somehow resembles dark matter. We know that dark matter is there, we just can't detect it. The discovery of dark DNA is recent, and it is still being investigated to determine how widespread it is and if the species that possess it may have some advantages compared to others. Let's look at the example of the fat sand rat. That's what it's called, fat sand rat. This animal lives in burrows, consumes around 80% of its body mass and leaves each day, and doesn't drink water. But what's really strange is that part of its DNA seems to be missing. Further study of its genome has revealed that a particular part of it had many more mutations than those found in other rodent genomes, and they have mutated to such a degree that they are difficult to detect using standard methods. From experience, we know that excessive mutations hinder the functioning of a gene, but that doesn't seem to happen with this rodent, which, regardless of this excessive amount of mutations, continues to function normally. Let's examine this in more detail. In the 1960s, it was discovered that when these rodents were fed a normal laboratory rodent diet, they tended to become obese and develop type 2 diabetes, which made them the focus of study for biologists interested in understanding diabetes in humans. However, during all this time, the mystery of why these animals are so susceptible to disease has not been solved. Some scientists thought they might find an answer in the PDX1 protein, which has many roles, including pancreas development and turning the insulin gene on and off. This gene is so important for this reason that it is found in all vertebrates, but genetic studies couldn't detect it in the fat sand rats. However, they have a normal pancreas and can secrete insulin, which doesn't make sense. When scientists saw this, they naturally said, "Oops." So they decided to sequence the entire genome of this animal and discovered something even more puzzling. PDX1 was not the only missing gene. In fact, a large portion of the DNA containing almost 90 genes, which are found on the same chromosome in other animals, was nowhere to be seen. Many of these genes, like PDX1, are essential for survival. So where are they? When scientists realized that these were also missing, they said, "Golly." The big clue came from examining DNA transcripts. The genetic code is composed of 4 bases, A, T, G, and C. What made the sequences in these transcripts so strange was the remarkably high level of 2 of them, G and C. This had not been seen before. A mutation hotspot was also found, a DNA region with an extraordinarily large number of mutations, many of which change from A or T to G or the base C. It is also extremely rare for vertebrates to have mutations in that region. Mutations typically compromise the function of a gene, and the genes in that elusive dark DNA segment are so essential for survival that they have barely changed throughout evolution. However, somehow the PDX1 gene in the fat sand rat, along with others, is managing to function despite the dramatic levels of mutation. This discovery is forcing scientists to reconsider some ideas they have about evolution, such as how much change a gene can tolerate and still keep functioning. Note that evolution is not being questioned here. It's not like someone will come out and say, after watching the video, "Oh, scientists question evolution with this dark DNA thing." In fact, genetics is one of the main reasons why we are confident that evolution is a fact. Evolution occurs in 2 stages: mutation followed by natural selection. Mutation creates variation in an organism's DNA, and natural selection determines whether it stays or goes, giving it a direction in evolution. But regions of high mutation within a genome mean that genes in certain locations are more likely to mutate than others. This means that these mutation hotspots could be a mechanism that also influences evolution. In other words, natural selection may not be the sole driving force after all. So far, dark DNA seems to be present in 2 very diverse and distinct types of animals, as dark DNA has also been discovered in certain birds. But it's not clear how widespread this could be. Could all animal genomes contain dark DNA? If not, what makes the fat sand rat so special? And some birds? The biggest mystery now is to resolve the question of what effect dark DNA has had throughout the history of life and evolution. Remember to subscribe.